Hey guys, so for this video I'm going to be reacting to the movie Babel. I have nothing, I don't know anything about it other than it has Brad Pitt in it. I'm already put out about, but, you know, we'll see. Like almost 2.5 hours long. Guess it's a little bit better because I was fearing it was like 3 hours long, so, yeah, let's just get started.
الصياد اللي باعها لي اللي تضرب بوحد 3 كيلومتر وصاحبك ما تزقلوش.
شحال كتطلب هادشي كله؟
الصياد اللي عطاها لي
غادي نعطيك 500 درهم. واحد الفلوس.
اللي بهاد الزويجه هادي غادي يقتلوا ولادك عدد ديال الديوبه.
Just wondering if the reason he wanted the gun was make it easier for hunting.
يلا يوسف.
غادي نشرب بالون.
Oh great.
غادي نشرب بالون.
That two people doesn't know how to use a gun. Shoot first, or shoot it. Yeah, this isn't uncomfortable at all.
اش كدير؟ كان حسب لا تقدر الكولومي.
Who would have thought that giving two kids a gun wouldn't result in them using it irresponsibly? You're gonna end up shooting someone? Or draw attention to themselves?
شوف الطنوبيله. عطيني نتير عليها.
Really?
بغيت تيري.
You're just gonna aim for a fucking car? Is this what's gonna happen? This is a flash forward to before, and this is what happens on the bus when the kids shoot. Wait for it. Wait for it.
What happened? Okay. Honey, what happened? What happened? Honey, please, honey.
Oh my God.
What happened?
Would explain why it took so long for them to stop. People just realizing it. Thing I find interesting is especially with like 1001 movies watch before you die movies. Some of the stuff just happens so randomly. Like these two kids were playing with a gun. Well, I guess it wasn't that random because they were actually pointing at the bus, but it still kind of at some points feel kind of random. It's just gonna be like a commentary on like all these different peoples who speak all these different languages. Maybe coming to, not even just spoken languages, but sign language as well. Just coming together or just looking at all these different people and the struggles they have despite speaking a different language.
昼食べるって言ったろ?
The nail in the heart. Kind of dangerous to sign and drive at the same time. So it's like J-pop, right? That's what she said the restaurant was named. I know like J-pop and also K-pop, also, you know, obviously Korean. Always like very famous, but I have never ever, I guess, dipped my toe into those two like fandoms. Kind of curious though, to see how I would react to it. It reminds me of the episode of like Family Guy when it comes to like Japanese men and women.
Huh. Samurai or geishas? Which one am I? I'll just wait till somebody else goes in. Well, that wasn't helpful.
Losing your nerve. Oh, they're both deaf, so she doesn't know. Oh, I guess that's to show their struggle with like relationships because he doesn't know sign language and he kind of like, I don't know, is an asshole about it, I guess. Didn't expect to see a pussy in this movie. But it is kind of sad, obviously, how she has to resort to literally flashing her assets to get their attention, because otherwise they're not interested. So they have no problem with people going into Mexico, as opposed to coming out of Mexico. They're, I'm assuming, stricter. Also notice the soundtracks are kind of, at least with the J-pop, I guess, and then here, they kind of reflect the culture, I guess, whereas in like the more royal village, I don't think they had a soundtrack. American, I don't think they have had a soundtrack yet, and we'll see. It reminds me of home. I grew up with chickens. I'm assuming they're gonna hit. They're gonna suffer a bad fate, I guess. And the two Westerners, I guess, are gonna have to see them kill the chicken. Ringing the... Yeah. It's a lot different when you actually see where your food comes from, isn't it? My dad used the old chop. I was always terrified that they were going to chop off one of my siblings' hands. So I always look away the entire time. So we're gonna see like the more Western world meeting the more like poverty-stricken Eastern. I think you could call them Eastern.
What do you know? We've got to get out of here as soon as
It's
possible.
unbearably hot on us. We have to get back for our
Look,
children.
you can't leave us here.
What is the point in us staying?
So it's that whole like fear of being in this like place that you're not familiar with, people that don't speak your language.
هادشي ديال هاد المنطقة. شوف لي شكون اللي عنده كاليبر 270.
Also interesting. So this is more like Royal Village, but I'm assuming these people, these detectives, come from a bigger city, I guess, that does have like vehicles and all that. I would kind of compare it to like more royal communities of like America versus, you know, cities like New York, California, or you know, pretty much every city in California. Is that how she knows? Well, I'm assuming that flashing light lets her know the door's ringing. Why did I know this was gonna happen?
やめろやめてくれ
Is this kind of like imply that she thinks she's undesirable because she keeps going for just, well, she went for the dentist and now she went for the cop. It's funny because she also could have gone through for the like the younger dude, but she doesn't seem she didn't seem to be interested in him, I guess. Or did the guy go with her friend? I saw, one of the girls like signing to her. I'm wondering if that was her friend and maybe she stole the dude from him. And this is just supposed to imply that he thinks she's undesirable because she's deaf.
奥さんがベランダから飛び降り自殺されたんでは。
飛び降りてなんかいない。銃で自分の頭を撃ったんだ。最初に発見したのは娘だ。この話は何度も警察にしてる。もう勘弁してくれよ。
So she just made up the whole thing about jumping off the balcony because she couldn't handle that her mother killed herself with a gun. Is that why you got rid of the gun eventually? Is that how she killed herself with his gun and so he ultimately gives it to someone else to get rid of it? Yeah, I don't know who the writer is. But, I mean, besides Brad Pitt, I didn't mind this movie. It was kind of interesting to see. For me, it was like seeing all these different cultures and how, despite them, some of them being more like primitive than others, they all end up having issues, I guess. And obviously how all these different characters kind of connect together, because it all starts with the Japanese man who gives this gun to this guide. I'm wondering if maybe his wife killed herself with this gun, which is why he was desperate to get rid of it. So he gives it to this guide who gives it to this another guy for money, and then he ends up allowing his kids to use it, and it ends up having the kids mess around with it as kids do, ends up shooting someone, and then having to desperate to try to save that woman, and then because of that, the guy pressures the nanny into staying with the kids instead of going to a wedding, and as we see, she takes the kids across border lines, the border, and then ends up getting caught as a suspected illegal and ends up being sent back to Mexico. And it's just like all of these events connected together. The way I saw it, it was kind of one of those, even the most innocent action or the smallest mistake can have like life-changing consequences. So that's kind of what I got from this. And also how, all these different people can have, languages and cultures, and how they can ultimately divide you, but also you're able to work, in some cases work past those, like, I guess language barriers, like when the Brad Pitt's character and then his guide, that ultimately helps him and his wife. So yeah, it's just, I'm sure there's like a lot of things to think about in this movie, but as of right now, I didn't mind it. It was one of the easier ones to set through because I found it interesting enough. So that was my reaction to Babel, and if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to get notification for all the videos I'll be doing. You guys have a nice night, stay safe out there, and talk to you later. Bye.